all of the goodness that God has for us. And that is when we give ourselves God's grace to run the race at our own pace without looking outside of ourselves. And that is the work that I'm here to do. That is the work that inspires me, that moves me out of my own comfort zone and supports me to go where I feel the most danger. That's why I'm here.
And I love that piece that you just said, without looking outside of ourselves, because that's the trap, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's the illusion that, this person's doing that, that person's doing that, and I'm not good enough and I need to copy, or I need to do something similar in order to get my act together.
Yes. And, the comparison trap, it shows up at every stage of life, especially for us women, but more so when you go into business, because it's, apart from parenting, it's the thing that doesn't come with a handbook. It's the riskiest thing you're ever going to do in your life. It's the bravest thing you're going to do, apart from going to war. Well, at least for that, they train you. But it's the bravest thing you're going to do. And for a lot of us, when we come in there, we look for Saul. So this is the example that I give. That we all have our grace for our thing. And then whatever God is doing through you is yours and needs to come out. Whatever that person is doing in her business is what God has given her to do. Whatever your mentor is doing is what God has given your mentor to do. It's none of your business. And that stuff they're doing should not show up in your business. But that's what we do. We go on social media. We go on this website. We do that. I would say, oh, that sounds better than mine, so I'm going to take it. And I always say, don't do the Saul. Learn from David. When it was time to go fight Goliath, Saul gave him the armor and the breastplate and all the things and said, here, take this. This is what works. And David said, nah, homie, see, this is the thing I've been doing. I've been fighting lions and bears and killing them with my hand. So I'm going to take what I know, what God has given me, the stones, and that is going to be my armor. I'm going to use that, and that's how I'm going to win my race that God has put me on. So don't use other people. Don't even look at other people. Just be what God has given to you, because literally God is in us doing the work, and God is pulling us back. Spirit is pulling us back, saying, focus. And you're like, no, God, you're not good enough. That person has 8 figures. That person has 7 figures. That person's husband looks amazing. That person has a big house. That person has 5 kids. I want what they have. And God's like, run the race I've given to you. Run the race. Be David. Think like David.
And it's a mindset shift, isn't it? It's almost like to not think like an employee and to think like an investor, or to be the energy of an investor rather than an employee. And the first time I saw your video, MiMi, was on YouTube, because I was looking up, I don't know what I typed in, you came up. So whatever it was perfect. And
thank you, Google. Thank you, Google.
Yeah, thank you, Google. And you came up and you're sitting there, and it was one of your older videos. You had your sewing machine behind you, and you were talking and you were talking and you were talking. And I think you asked a question, and you said something like, well, if you're charging, you should be charging $250,000 or $500,000 for your year program. And I'd been so self-hypnotized into hearing that, $10,000 is the price for a high end. And to hear you say $250,000, $50,000 for a 3-day retreat, or one-on-one, and it felt like you burst something open in me. And I want to ask you now, what is it, do you think, why are we so conditioned to think small and play small with the value that we place on ourselves and the work that we're giving into the world that is life-changing and transformational?
It's an identity. It's an identity change so I'll give you examples that might make sense for you, for all of us, and how I see this in the world. So we all have identities that we've given ourselves based on what people have told us. And those of us who work with coaches, what the coaches have done and what the coaches have told us we're capable of doing. I can tell you this, every client that has come to me through YouTube has said to me, based on the videos, the same videos you've watched and other ones, where they've said to me, why is it that when I work with the 8-figure coaching gurus, they're associate coaches of the coaching gurus, they tell me that all I can do is a 90-day 10K program. And then I come to you and you spewing things like 100K and 250K, and I'm just like, how is this? Like, her mouth is moving, but I can't get it. Wait, what? And so my first client on YouTube said that to me, and I said, I don't know, but it's an identity shift, because you've seen yourself as the person that sells 10K. Now, what would it take? Who would you be if you walked into the room as though you belonged? You see, when you charge 10K, what you're saying to me is that I don't belong in that room. That's for those other women. And nobody has pulled a chair for me to sit at that table. No, nobody pulls the chair for you. When you were born, the chair was already there for you. So you're choosing now. I'm inviting you. My work is an invitation to choose to belong and make the decision to walk into the room, pull the damn chair out and sit your butt on there and say, this is me and I belong here. That's what we need to do, this identity shift. How do you see yourself? When I look at the emails that my clients send out when they start working with me in the beginning, you know, let's say I'm working with a business coach. I don't work with business coaches, but let's say I work with a business coach, and she'll send an email out saying, why are you not getting clients? And then she'll email me and say, oh gosh, you know, I'm not getting the clients I want to work with because I'm attracting these kinds of people, the victims. And I say, what was the name of the content you produced today? And it says 25 reasons why you don't get clients. I said, well, when you send an email like that, the woman whose identity says, I get clients, I just need support to figure out how to do the best clients or where to find the best clients. It's not reading that email. The person who has never gotten clients, who doesn't get clients, who needs you to show her how to get clients, is reading that email. And when she shows up to you, you get upset because you're thinking, you're not the one I called in, but you did, because you did not become the high value woman and send out the email. And send out the email that says, let's make getting clients even more fun and amazing. How would it feel like for clients to just roll into your life based on the words that you're saying to them, based on your messaging and your energy? That attracts a whole different level of women. But you need to shift the identity. It's nobody's fault. It's not a bad thing. It's just what you know. And when you know better, you do better. And identity shift it starts with value and worth, okay? It's saying, who am I? You are not a coach. You're not somebody's mother. You're not this. You're a child of God. And when we partner with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, or whoever you're partnering in the universal spirit work for you, that is when that person starts to work through you. But on your own, you're absolute trash. You're nothing until that spirit, you allow that spirit to work through you, because then you get the wisdom. The way we succeed, we move faster in the world is by getting more wisdom, not working harder.
Of course.
And we love to work harder because it validates the ego side of us. Working wiser and making a life that you're wildly, passionately, madly in love with, and then elevating yourself higher and higher. So as you get people who elevate with you, they show up in your world and they calibrate to that space. You never want to work with people where you have to reach down and pull them up, because then you never see them as who God says they are. You always see them as a victim and you as the teacher. And we're not teachers. Jesus was the original teacher. He's the only teacher. We here are co-partners to co-create with each other and to lead each other forward and say, we are all one.
That's so beautiful and so powerful. And I love the way that you bring spirituality. You talk about God, you talk about Jesus, you talk about stories from the Bible, you bring in the metaphysics of this. And that for me is so enriching and so important, because it's how I know to identify as me, as Laura, as a child of God. And when you do it, it feels that you're inviting us on your journey of knowing, well, let's know who we are. Let's know who we are, MiMi. That's what you're saying to me. That's what I'm hearing. Know who you are, Laura, and then the world's your oyster.
Yes. You know, one of the things that we like to do is we want to race into something and do it now. And we don't want to learn. We don't want to be patient. We want it now. We want it now. And I always say to people, the same thing I say to Sunday school kids, every time you're impatient, every time you choose to scale before you grow, every time you choose to create that $10,000 offer before you even know how to create an offer with a client to co-create that bespoke thing, and you're running into that other 10K month, you're being Esau. at that point. You're selling your God-given birthright for soup. That's what that 10K offer is. You just sold your birthright for soup. How about you wait patiently and align yourself with the people or community or person that God has put here already to support you, so you can really build something that supports you to grow and not sell your birthright for a 10K month.
And that is apart from what I'm hearing, what I feel personally about this is who I'm becoming as I create the offer, as I create the vision, as I be the vision and allow the vision to unfold. It's who I'm becoming, so that the idea that I have expands in consciousness, and then it's effortless. I'm not having to try and sell it, because it just draws in those that are
selling.
ready.
I love sales. You know I love sales. You know I sell.
I know you do. I know you're the sales queen.
I sell every day. Okay, I love sales, but this is what I've learned in sales: is that everyone wants to be seduced. We all want to be seduced.
Oh,
there's no no-brainer. Okay, there's no-brainer sales. I think that's the worst thing we can do, is say this is a no-brainer, jump into it. So I see a lot of women who create an offer on their own, without co-creating with the clients, don't even know what the client wants. They come to me with this offer and they go, nobody's jumping into it. It's a no-brainer. Why can't people buy it? And I say, well, what problem are you solving? Well, this is what I love to do. So I made something, and I'm going to go find people to do it. And I said, well, it doesn't make buying fun for them because they didn't co-sign to this. And I said, when you co-create with people, it comes from love. When you create on your own, it comes from scarcity. Like, I need the money now. I need to do this for my life. They don't care about your life. They don't care about anything. They want to be seduced. They want to buy. The people who are for you want to invest in themselves. They want to invest in themselves at the highest level. What is their greatest desire? What is their greatest challenge? What is the thing that they want the most in their life? And does this offer give that to them? Or does it give you your mortgage and then you expect them to pay your mortgage? So give them what they want. So that buying is fun for them, because they want you to sell to them, because they want the thing. And they say, rock my world, tell me how to buy it. That's what they do. The only thing you ever have to do is share what you have with people who want it, and then invite them, show them the way to get it. And I do that. That's what I share. I try to illustrate with you guys every week on the email list. It's like, I tell you what it is, and I'm like, it's obsessed. It's love letters. Come and get it. And then, people who want to, like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Great. Come and get it. All there is, because we all want seduction in our relationships, in whatever it is. We want people to let us feel like we're coming into something great, that we're co-creating with them, and that they're part of our journey and we are part of theirs. It starts from love. It starts from love. If you don't love the people that you're creating with, if you don't love the people that you're working with, it's going to suck. Sales is going to suck, and it's going to feel like a job. But it's kind of like a relationship. If you don't love the person you're about to go marry, if you don't love the person you're engaged to, if you don't love the husband that you're having sex with, everything is like work. But when you love them and you want to see them thrive, and you want the best for them, and you want to grow and co-create together and have babies and do everything and travel the world together, it's a very different, beautiful relationship. There's no difference between romantic relationships, agape relationships, and selling. There's no difference. It's the same thing. It all starts with love. And if you don't have self-love and value and worth, you can't have love for the other person, period. And that's why I focus so much on becoming the high-value person, because we all are, but it's remembering who you are. So Laura, you, me, we all forget to remember, because life happens. And this person tells you you're a piece of shit, and this person tells you you're there, and it comes to your head, and you forget to remember that the only person whose words matter is what God says about you. That's why I ask you ladies this all the time. What does God say about you? Because if you believe what God says about you, you don't even hear the other person who calls you a different name on the street. When I'm walking on the street and some guy whistles or he does or he says some name, that's not the name my mother gave me. I'm not responding to that. It's not my name. So people always say something. I say, what's your name? What's your name? What does God say? And what do you believe about what he says about you? Because when you remember who you are, you do the thing. But when we forget to remember, I'm here to remind you. That's all I do is identity. Just reminding you again who you are. In your life, your relationship, your business, everywhere. That's where value comes from.
This is so powerful, because there are so many amazing coaches out there, you know, in the world that focus on aspects of spirituality and law of attraction and how to think it and get it, or how to think it and bring it in, and, you know, what we're thinking. And I'm hearing you talking about, well, let's go straight to source. Let's go straight to knowing who we are. And once we know who we are, then the world opens up. Our worlds open up, because we're kind of living from a whole other place. We're not relying on the world of effect to do it for us. It's all God coming through. And in that, there's no limitation, whether it's $20, £20, £1,000, $10,000, or $250,000 or $500. There's no limitation from that place.
No, there's none, because you have to understand, this is why I also share and invite people to consider having a platform, an array of choices for people. Okay, look at your signature system, your business as an airplane that takes the people on this experience. And there's some people who are going to come into your experience who want first class. Have something for them for first class. There are people who are going to come into your experience who want business class. Have something for them. And there are people who only want economy and think everybody else is stupid because you're going in the same plane and you're getting there at the same time. And why would anybody want to pay $20 for that? And give them their $20 offer. But have the audacity to have an offer for the person who wants $250,000, because this is what happens. When you have that business where you have these offers, my invitation is to always speak to the highest level person, because everybody else at some point will come in and buy the peripheral offers, but start at the highest level, because it up levels everybody else in your audience to calibrate like, oh, okay. But that one person who wants a $250,000 offer will be so excited that you have that for her, because she can't find that everywhere. Not everybody has it, but everybody has a $10K offer and a $100 offer.
Yeah, it's true. Everybody does have a $10K offer and $100.
I do too. I have a $250 offer and I have a $250,000 offer. So I'm here for everyone, but I talk to the $250,000 person and I calibrate the $250 person to the $250, because she's curious as to what am I missing? Well, wait, where have I been all my life? So yeah.
And what was the shift for you, MiMi? Where were you always with this knowing of money and value and financial flow? So what was it? When was it? When did that happen, and how did that happen for you?
So I've always been into identity work, but I did not know it was identity work until I became a coach. So I've always, believed in God, had faith, gone to church. I thought God was, one of those guys that, you read about in the world that has like the white girl, brunette hair extensions blowing in the wind. You know how pictures you see of Jesus with a six-pack? And I thought that's what he was. And I thought he lived in the sky somewhere. And that I was going to pray to him for him to come fix me and heal my life. And then when I became a coach, I learned through the identity work that I was working through with my coaches that God is inside of me, and that heaven is here on earth. And I can choose to be wildly, madly, passionately in love with the life I have, because I am co-creating with God. And I get to choose where I belong, where I don't belong, and make the decision of what to do and what not to do, and align that with God's will for me, which only God's will comes through me. Because the reason is this, and this is what I share with my clients. Have you ever left work or your business and said, you know what, let me stop and rob a bank before I get home? Have you ever thought that at all? No, nobody thinks, let me rob a bank on my way home, except people who want to rob a bank, because that is not God's will for you. So you're never going to think of something that is not his will. So when he gives you the thought of create a $50,000 program, that's God's will for you. That's the only reason why you're thinking about it, because he's not going to give you anything to think about that's not aligned for you. I don't walk down the street saying I want to be a surgeon. Oh, I wish I was. No, that's not what I'm here for. So my whole life was, God at some church, in some church building. And then once I realized at that point that I was a co-creator with God, I still didn't raise my value up. I was selling $37 ebooks. That's what I was selling. And I was charging $550 a month to work with me. But when you came to work with me, I would say things like, you can do it for $400 or you can do it for $350. And one day I said that to a potential client, and she said, wow, you think I can afford it? And she got pissed at me. And I was like, I'm just trying to help. She says, that's not the help I came for. If you don't value your work, how are you going to work with me? My dreams are too big for you. And she laughed. And I called my coach, and my coach said, so what do you think that was about? Where's that coming from? What's happening? You know, she coached me or whatever. And then I created a program. You know, the next day someone came in and I said, they want to pass the CPA. And I said, okay, you know what? It's $1,800. But as we were working together, I was like, this is $5,000. And I couldn't get up in the morning. I was just like, oh, I'm so pissed. Like, why am I even getting up for $1,800? Like, you know, it was just like the work I was doing. And then I said, one morning I just woke up and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit was like, it's $15,000 to work with you. And I was like, get thee away from me, Satan, you greedy little bastard. Look, I can't go from 1,800 to 15,000. So I did. And that morning I got a client who came in, and it was MiMi. I partnered with MiMi, and she came in through there. And everybody on the page was charging $25 an hour or $2,500 for 6 months. And I was $15,000 for 6 months. And I said, why did you decide to come to me? And she said, I was intrigued. I said, well, if everybody else is charging $25 an hour, $250 or $2,500 for 6 months, and she's charging $15,000 for 6 months, shoot, I'm going with her. She knows something I don't, because I want to charge that.
Right.
And I said, interesting. And that's how it started. But then I got to the place where I got to $25,000 and I shut down. And I said, I tried to say 100,000, but I couldn't. It couldn't come out of my mouth. I would throw up. I would get sick. I just had all kinds of breakdowns. And so I hired a spiritual life coach. I knew I didn't need a business coach. I wanted a spiritual life coach. And I said, I have spiritual warfare going on in my life, and I need you to help me. And so she worked with me for 6 months. And it was my first high ticket investment, okay, for 6 months. And I thought I was going to die, because I thought, who don't I owe money to right now that I can borrow money from to help me pay this investment, because I can't afford it. And so I borrowed money and I invested in working with her.
I love
it. And every month,
I owe money too. I love that.
I was on a payment plan, and every time the payment would come due, I would say, who don't I owe money to that trusts me to lend me money right now? Because I didn't have the money. Nobody had high-end coaching clients don't have the money. High-paying clients have the money, but they're not high-end coaching clients. They just want a shopping spree because they can spend the money. They don't want the transformation. And so I finally got the money to pay her. And part of me was like, she's probably sitting home thinking, this girl better pay me. And she said, I never thought that, because you invest, you say you wanted to do this. I assume you did. Why would I think that? She said, we need to work on that, whatever that is for you. And so during that work, I created a $50,000 offer. And I came on the call with her and I said, have this $50,000 offer. And she said, tell me about it. And I was like, I was talking to her and she said, how much should the offer be, MiMi? And I said, $100,000, to be honest with you. She said, I can tell. And she said, so why don't you say that? And I said, you know what? I'm going to say it. So I created a YouTube channel. And 3 months in, she said to me, have you set the price of the offer on YouTube? And I said, no, I just say high ticket. And she said, well, my invitation is to say the price of the offer on YouTube. And I said, I don't want to scare people. She said, you're the queen of messaging in sales. You're the one that knows how to talk to people, to high value women. You're not talking to high value women. Believe me, you say $100,000, you attract a client who wants to invest at that level, because she wants to sell a $100,000 offer. So I did. The next day, somebody came in to the bridge workshop. It was $2,500. They paid and they came in just from the email list. I didn't know who they were. They just came into the thing. And I said, oh my gosh. And she said to me, I came in because I want to sell $100,000 offers. I want to sell $1 million offers, but every coach I've worked with has capped me at 90 days and 10K. And I was shocked when I found you on YouTube. And I said, I watched all your videos. I went down the rabbit hole. After 7 hours with you, I was like, I don't know who she is. She's not on social media. She doesn't have a following, but I'm going to work with her. And that was my first client. And during that workshop, that was before she became the official client. We were in a workshop for 2 hours. She created her first $100,000 offers and posted it to LinkedIn in 2 hours. It took me 4 years to do that. She did it in 2 hours.
Well, you worked through the fear piece for her.
Yeah, so I embodied it. And that's the thing, is that we all together bravely walk through the fear, the doubt. Like, eat it for breakfast, even if it chokes you. You know, eat the fear for breakfast, even if it gives you diarrhea. Just eat it for breakfast and move on. Just do it. Yes. And what I realize now is that I got a call from a friend on YouTube who said to me, the reason why it's now 250,000 after like a year and a half, she said to me, you know, MiMi, during the pandemic, it was like cool to see you with your $100,000 offer. She said, but I know what you do. Don't you think you're undervaluing yourself and you have some mindset issues you need to work through? Because you should not be selling that for 100,000. It's like at least $500,000. And I remember palpitating and going, what? And then I worked through my issues and finally I was like, yeah, the reason why I haven't been selling it is because it's not 100,000. It's 250,000. She said it's small, but I'll let you sell it for that because everybody else on YouTube thinks you're like up here. And I know you're still not there yet because you're still not seeing the real price, but I'll tolerate it because I'm your best friend and I got you. I'll listen to it. So I raised the price and nobody blinked. And so that's why now, you know, the email is, I'm sure the first time you guys saw the email, you thought, what the? And now, it's like, okay, that's what MiMi does. Okay.
Because it becomes our norm when we make it our norm. As you,
it became
like you
the
said
norm.
Before,
And it's been that way since the pandemic. So it's almost time. So yeah. But I love that offer, and it's going to be that because I'm doing other things now. Now I have a $10,000 offer. You know, I have a $250 offer. I didn't have any of those. All I had was my $100,000 offer. That's all I ever had. And now I have the platform because I do realize that there are lots of people in my world, in my email listing community, that want to work with me, but they honestly cannot create $100,000 yet because they're not the place where they have the resources or they don't feel resourceful enough to do it yet. And they're rising up on their calibration. They're not there yet. And so this $10,000 offer, this $250 offer supports them to calibrate up. Yeah. So
it's beautiful because you're supporting already coaches, people, women who are coaches, healers, transformational teachers. So you are a business to business mentor. That's your, you know, if somebody came to you and said, I'm not in business and I need help with my financial, you know, that maybe not be the person for you right now.
Yeah. See, the funny thing is when you have a niche, then everybody else comes to work with you, right? So a lot of the people that work with me to create, they don't have a business, but they want that. Some of them don't have a business, but they want that up value thing because the work that they do, let's say I work with attorneys, accountants, and all those sort of people, but a lot of people are people who just want to grow in their faith. And it's hilarious because I had to work with my coach for a year to be able to tell someone I can support them for spiritual life growth for $250,000. Because the investment to work for me is the same, no matter what I'm doing. Because even in business, we don't sit there doing spreadsheets and strategies. Nobody's ever come to me. I mean, I'm a CPA, I have an MBA in finance and in marketing and all this stuff, but nobody's ever come to me and said, let's do a spreadsheet. They come to me because I say the word Jesus. Like literally, they say, you blew my mind when you said Jesus and business and coach. And I thought, oh, how dare her talk about God online? And that's why I came to you, because I want to grow to that point where I can do that in my own business. So yeah, we do the strategies, we do the systems. Of course, I love sales and marketing and messaging. But the biggest part is that inside out work. And they also love the Prosperous Womb. The name The Prosperous Womb, for whatever reason, resonates with every woman. So it's
brilliant. Where did that come from?
I was meditating and I said, God, I don't want to name my business MiMi Dabo Coaching, which is what it was for 5 years. And I said, because it makes it about me. And I'm not here to do me. I'm here to support the women. How can I support the women who tap into their womb to pull out what you've given them and enjoy their own prosperity? And ding, 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 the Prosperous Womb.
It's brilliant.
And I said it out loud. I told my daughter, she was 10 at the time, when she was 9.5 at the time. She came home from school. I told her, she said, I don't know what it means. And I said, well, the womb where the baby's born. She said, oh, you get to tap into the thing that God has given you, the stuff you always talk about, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Mom, I get it. And she said, and prosperous means that it's thriving in all. You can have a baby, you can have money, you can have a husband, you can do everything. I said, look at you. And she said, well, if the third grader gets it, your clients can get it. So she's going to be like
she's going to be your marketing agent. I can see this as she grows up into a young woman. She's going to be taking over your whole MiMi marketing campaign.
She has already done that. Yes. So that's where Prosperous came from. It was
And for
really,
me also, just to interject here, it's creativity is where creation happens in the womb. It's like, let's create something
exactly,
extraordinary,
exactly.
something beautiful, something infinite.
Yeah, that is your own. That is your own. And also,
Yes.
as an artist and a fashion designer, for me, creativity is the key for everything that I do in life. And I think that the minute you stop creating is the minute that you probably internally die. So
Yeah.
everything comes from this. It's called the sacral chakra. You know, this part of your
Yeah.
body, that part of your body. That's where creation comes from. You know, they used to say, if you don't have sex, you're going to look older, you're going to do this. And I realized creativity is better than sex. You look younger and happier, and you thrive when you have creativity. And so I always say, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what your sex life is like. It doesn't matter what your love life is like. As long as you're creating and making, you're growing, you're thriving, and you're getting younger and fresher and more prosperous. And that is all that happens. And I think for us as business owners, the key, which I remind myself all the time, is not about us. It never will be and never was. The whole thing
Absolutely.
is to come out there and share the gifts that God has given you. The gifts that are
Yes.
for you and somebody else. Hire that coach
Yes.
because God has given gifts for you. So your gifts are not for you. They're for you to share. And every time you sit and say, oh, I can't send that offer. I can't send that blog post. I can't do this. You're basically saying, I'm looking at myself, and you're putting
Right.
everything on you, and you're being selfish because it has nothing to do with you. You're a conduit for God. You're a vessel. You're an empty vessel. Your only job every day is to wake up and empty the vessel so God can come through. That's your only job. And you don't do that. You keep the blog post on your computer. You keep the message on your Facebook Live on your computer. You don't want to put it public. And you don't put the offer out there. So you're full of crap, and God can't even see through because you're full of other crap. So the only job you have every day is to empty all the amazing goodness God has put in you for the people He's put it here for. To send the email, to do the live, to do the video, to share, to invite somebody to work with you. That's your only job in life. That's it.
Oh, that's so liberating, isn't it? When you're saying it, the way that you're saying it is to empty and share. And why do you think we can make it such hard work? It can feel so heavy. For me, I go through phase of when I think about marketing, I don't even think about it as marketing anymore. I just call it sharing. But there were times when I would think, oh, it just feels like hard work, and I just don't want to be online, and I don't want to be on video, and all the kind of negative, or not even negative, but just that way of thinking would come up and stop me and then I would say, well, this isn't about me. I'm choosing to be here in this business, or whatever I call this creative project. It's my responsibility to show up and to do these things. Otherwise, go and get a job, Laura.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're all different, and yet we're all the same. We have a fear of judgment. We have a fear of
Yes.
of all the things. But what I've noticed the difference between high value women and women who are still practicing to be high value is this. High value women, they are more afraid to stay where they are. They are more afraid that they're not going to move than they are of the fear of failure. Okay.
Okay.
And then
Yes.
on the other spectrum, you have the women who are just afraid to move. And so
Right.
I now exclusively only talk to the women who are so scared that next year they're still going to be in the same place. That's who I talk to, because the other women can't even hear that. And then the
Yes.
the coaches who talk to those women, they can't even read what I say because they think it's for women up there. And the thing is, we need to understand again that we need to stop making business about us. It has nothing to do with you. And that is why I always say, what is your assignment? You know your identity as a child of God. You've read every Bible in the world. You pray to Jesus or whoever you pray to every day. You're spiritual as whatever. And yet you're still sitting here twisting your arms, making this about you. What would be possible if you knew the work that God had put you here to do? You already know it.
Right.
What would be possible if you came to play? If all you did was come to play? That's what business is. We create things with people. We create toys with them in our playground. We use our playbook in our Prosperous room to co-create, and then we share. And then we create with them on this journey, this experience, this coaching experience. But we like to make it work because then we feel what I call pseudo-intellectual. If I this strategy and that structure and that funnel and that system, that's what complicates it. You're here to literally, you know how when if you're constipated and you're all backed up and it hurts and you don't feel good? That's how it is every day when you don't sell. That's how it is every day to your spiritual creativity when you don't sell. You're backed up, you're constipated. So I always ask people, when's the last time you used the bathroom? And they go, I mean, the creative bathroom, the spiritual bathroom. When's the last time you emptied yourself? Because God doesn't work with full vessels. He only works with empty vessels. You can't put, he can't come and put the new stuff that's backed up on all the crap inside of you already, literally. Like he needs emptiness to come through. So you need to, like the lights can't shine through your full self. It has to be cracks in it from being used so much so the light can shine in the world. And that means don't look outside of you. Everything is here for the people right there. So just create for them. What do your people want? What do they want? Okay, co-create together. Co-create together. Make them invested in their outcome. Then tell them about it. Tell them you have it. And then you sell it to them. They give you money for it. So you're excited to work on it with them. And then you co-create with them. Start with just one person. Just one person. Stop trying to jump. And, nobody wants to do the basic stuff. Everybody wants to do the sexy stuff. Business is not sexy. It's super basic. It's foundational. It's offer. It's messaging. It's marketing. It's sales. It's creating something, telling someone about it, getting the money, exchanging the value. That's all it is. It's simple. Yeah. And when you know your worth, you don't have to complicate your life or your business. When you know that you have a business that you want to write home about because you fall in love with it so much, you won't complicate it. Okay. When you have a relationship with your husband or whatever, you don't wake up in the morning and go make breakfast for all the men in the building. No, I'm not saying anybody should make breakfast for their husband, but you don't get up and make breakfast for everybody in the building. You just make breakfast for your husband. So it starts with one person. Just be monogamous in your business relationships. One person. Think of that person. What does she want? If she came to you and she said, I have really bad period cramp pains, will you hide the Panadol or the Tylenol? Or would you say, oh my gosh, here you go? Why is it easy for you to do that, but not the gifts God is pulling through you?
This is gold. This is more than gold, this treasure that you're sharing right now. And I'm reading into it and feeling this beautiful energetic flow of like really releasing and dissolving our old beliefs, my old beliefs and concepts and ideas of who I think I am, and then taking on this knowing of who I truly am, this identity, and filling up with that. And that being the kind of foundational grounding, the nurturing place to create the offers from, or the services, or what we have to share in the world from this clear space.
What you get to share in the world, what we get to share with the world. And so it's a practice, isn't it? It's a daily practice. It's like, I was talking with someone the other day, and we were talking about these amazing women. I see them on Instagram, these amazing 90-year-old women who come up on, I don't know if you see them, but they come up and I'm not on social media, but
you're on social. Yeah. Okay. But they've got these feeds and they're really fit and they're doing amazing yoga poses,
that's amazing.
All of it just filled with vitality and saying, yeah, I'm 90 or I'm 88. And, and I said to this person, well, do you think they got up that morning and suddenly they look like this? They have to work at this every single day with mindset, with exercises, with stretches, with what goes into their body, with what they're choosing to read, what they're choosing not to read, what they choose to wear, how they feel good, the colors there were, all of it. It's a daily practice to get to that point at the age of 88. And for me as a 60-year-old woman to look at that and say, wow, that's somewhere I want to be at that age. And it takes practice every day. It starts now. And it's the same with what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah,
so we have
business,
to put the work or the energy in for what you're saying. It's exactly the same thing, isn't it? What you're saying is
your personal gym. Business is your personal gym.
Yes.
when I wanted to have a strong core, I didn't just sit here and say I want to have a strong core. I would love to have a strong core. I had a personal trainer, and in 10 days I had a strong core, and I continued that journey on my own with the personal trainer, sometimes on my own. But I had to do daily practice. I had to put the reps in. And in business, we want to skip the reps because we compare our we compare our insides to the Instagram coach's outsides, and we don't realize that she already put in the reps. And then we try to steal that person's systems and structures and strategies. But it took her 10 years to create those systems, structures, and strategies. And you don't know what her back end is like. You don't know why she wants those systems, structures, and strategies. So you want a formula or template for what she has. But there's a reason why she has that, because it's aligned with what God is calling her to do. So you will take her stuff that God is calling her to do, and then you make it your message, but that's not what God is calling you to do. So when you say nobody believes you, and then you get mad at her because she sold you this $10,000 product that's not working for you, it's not supposed to work for you because it's not about you. You need to birth your own, midwife your own. First, identify your magic. What are your gifts? You ask people what are their gifts, and they go, I'm not creative. Well, God is not one-dimensional. When God is in you, you just like offended God. Like, seriously? What, enjoy? What do you like? Why are you selling an offer that you hate? Why are you selling an offer that you don't even like talking about? If you don't like talking about it, you're not going to share it. If you don't share it, you're not going to sell it. If you don't sell it, you're not going to make money. Then you're going to get mad at your coach and say it's your coach's fault. It's not. It's that you're not being who God has called you to be. So that's what we'll always start with God. And we partner. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and in the mirror at night, taking off all the makeup, and you see yourself, you see God. You see God. And what does God say to you today? What message is God trying to give you? You're not listening because you're scrolling on Instagram looking for that coach with a formula template that's like $9.95, and you're going to get it, and you're going to get your next 10K month. Stop selling your birthright for soup.
Yes, and it's so true what you're saying, because a business has a structure and a strategy. Every business, whatever it is, even what I'm creating with the magazine, I'm creating my own way of doing it.
Exactly.
And I have to do that myself. I can't copy it from somebody else on media and guess what they're doing. I'm creating it myself. Okay, I'm getting
because you don't know their why. You don't know why they're doing it.
We don't know their why, and also we don't know the year, like you said, the years that we put in to creating these systems. We can't just copy it on face value.
I started out with $37 ebooks. I started off a camp. Then I went to the library. I sat there for 4 hours, wrote an ebook. And one of my coaches at the time said to me, why would anybody buy a $37 PDF for you and download it themselves when they can go buy a book about Jeff Bezos or some other Elon Musk on Amazon for $12 and get hard copies sent to them in the mail? I said, because with God, all things are possible. And if he put this in through me, he wants it to come out to the world. And so I put it on the website, the PDF, and it was selling like hotcakes. And that is how I got many of the women on my email list to be on the email list. They bought the ebook. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to be a gazillionaire. If I can sell 1,000 of these a day, then that's what, oh my gosh. I was on social media at the time too. I was on Instagram at the time. And so I would talk about it all the time, but it was exhausting. And then once I created a $10,000 offer, I said, oh, so I don't need 30 sales to come in today. I can just sell one thing to one person, actually have transformation with that one person.
Right.
I think in our businesses, we confuse transformation with making money. We have that confusion. We confuse transformation with content. So transformation happens only after the money has exchanged hands. That's the only time transformation happens. It starts when the person is pulling out their credit card and saying, I am stepping into this offer. Oh my God. That's when transformation happens. Everything before then is just information. It's an aha moment. It's an experience. It's something that triggers them, where they recognize the God in them, but they still haven't owned that the God is in them because they haven't given you the credit card to exchange, where they step into it and say, I'm all in. Let's co-create my life, my business, my relationship, because there's no transformation before the coaching experience. It's
this is rich.
It's an aha moment. Transformation does not happen on a YouTube video, no matter how long it is. It doesn't happen in a masterclass. It doesn't happen in a workshop. And it sure as heck doesn't happen in an email. You can be aware of something in an email. You can recognize something in an email. But transformation is when you step into the transaction that supports you to have the relationship with the coach and work together.
Let's breathe this in. Really? It's powerful, MiMi. It's powerful what you're sharing, what you are, who you are, what you're sharing, what you're unlocking here for us, for the viewers. If you're here watching live, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or at whatever time, whether you're watching, in the future, if you're here with us, it's still in the now. If you've reached it, then you know this is invaluable information that that MiMi is sharing. Welcome here, MiMi. I'm just feeling this is such a blessing that you're here today and sharing on the Women of Power show, because I
It is a
think
blessing
that
for me too.
I'm so humbled and so honored and so grateful that you said yes to being on, here and present here right now and sharing, because you are on YouTube a lot and you do share from your own channel and you share the information and you share your wisdom. You share your wisdom to empower us to step into the greatness of who we be and to release the old idea of we're not enough, we're not deserving of enough, or there isn't even enough. And how
Grace,
dare we have this idea about
grace.
ourselves of as
Yeah.
this, this valuable person being. And that's not how God sees us. That's not
Oh,
how God knows
it's
us.
so easy. It's grace. It's giving ourselves that compassion and that grace. People say to me, "But Mimi, I haven't even made $0 in my coaching business." Who cares? It's
Mm,
forgetting what's behind you, like Paul said, and
right.
moving forward to upward call that God is calling you to do in your coaching business. It's not about how much money you made. I don't care. Nobody does. It's about what you're committing to, who you're committing to be in this moment, starting today.
Yes.
That's all that
Yes.
matters. And it doesn't matter if you've made 8 figures in your coaching business. I bet you're exhausted. The way you did it was exhausting. It doesn't matter if you've made 7 figures a month in your coaching business. I can tell by looking at you that the stress on your body tells me, yes, you do 7 figures a month and you look like stress.
That's another
But
thing,
here's the
isn't
thing.
it?
It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It matters today when you say, you know what, I am going to sell high ticket. I am going to work with high-end clients and I'm going to work with only a handful, because the work that I do is so powerful, so exclusive, so amazing that it's going to be for these 5 people, because what God has put in me cannot stretch to 100 people. But the
Right.
impact with these 5 people is going to go to millions of people. And this is why I work with coaches. So I get the question all the time, Mimi, why do you work with coaches? The coaches I work with have thousands of clients, hundreds of thousands of clients, and I work with only 5 clients a year. So when I work with these women, that work is transferred to their thousands of clients all over the world. And those clients are married, and those clients have clients because I work with business people too. And those business people have spouses and children. And so the work goes out. So my impact is through these 5 women that goes around and goes wider. That's why I
Of
say go
course.
deep with a few people, because it spreads so far. The work my coach does with me affects my co-parenting, affects my parenting, affects me as a mother, affects me as a daughter, a friend, a sister, affects me as a human and as a business coach. It affects me as a fashion designer, it affects me everywhere in my life as a health person. It affects everything about my life. So focus on that one person and what you're here to do, and forget what's behind you. Forget the mistakes. I mean, think when people talk about rejection and sales and mistakes and failure, I failed the CPA 3 times before I passed it, love. Like, failure is nothing. Failure is
Oh, where
basically
are you?
the
Are you there? MiMi? MiMi,
oh
are you
gosh, what
there?
happened?
No, it was a glitch. I was trying to get your website up here to show people your website while you were talking, but it stopped the
Oh, so you
screen.
missed the whole thing. Oh my gosh,
Missed
that
it.
was so
Carry on.
good. I'm kidding.
My hands are off.
So I was basically saying, what was I saying? It was so
You,
good. It was
well, you just
juicy.
said about forget the failure. There's no such thing as
Oh yes,
failure.
so
It's
there's no.
behind you.
Then it wasn't too much you missed. So forget
Mm,
the thing that you call failure, because it's the lesson that shows you what doesn't work, so you can go for what works.
of
Okay,
course.
like what is it?
Yes.
Is it Edison? Like how many things did he create before the thing worked? Like all
Oh,
these people,
10,000.
yeah. And then we think I'm going to get this offer that I didn't co-create with anyone and sell it, and it's Gazillionaire, think, what is the transformation this one person is going to get? That transformation is what makes you a gazillionaire, okay? Because she refers people to you, because she invites you to her podcast like you're doing now, because you impact her in a way that changes the both of you. Again, it's not the work I do is not about me. It's about when I get these emails, it's about when people email me and say, oh my gosh, I just charged $10,000 because of that last email that you sent. Do you know how amazing? Like it's like, and you say, God.
And that's my question for you now, MiMi. This is my question for you. Do you know how amazing you are? Do you take that on board? And I'm just wondering if you recognize, as I'm recognizing, the amazingness of you and the light that you bring, and the sense of adventure and joy and fun and possibility that you're offering me and women around the world. When you say you can do it, you can charge whatever you want to charge. It's about who you're becoming. It's not about the amount of money. And that is, you are a woman. You are the woman of power right now, right here, being here on the Women of Power show. You are this. And I'm knowing you recognize it in yourself every day. Of course you do. Of course you do.
I'll be honest with you. I'm in the middle of a divorce right now, and so.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, you don't read all the emails. A lot of them are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just messing with you. No, a lot of times we women forget who we are, and the reason why I talk a lot about remembering who you are and not forgetting who you are is because I forgot who I was. I forgot.
MiMi Dabo, where are you? We're here waiting to hear from you. I think your internet. Oh, you're back. You forgot.
Yes, it's totally there. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's here now.
I forgot to remember who God said I was, and I took on the persona of what my ex's lawyer said I was, of what my ex said I was, and I was becoming that person until my coach stepped in and sent me to a therapist to work on self-love. And she said, I want you to remember your light because you've dulled it. You've shrunk and diminished to this person that I don't recall. And that was the reason why I did not charge $100,000, because if he says I'm a piece of shit, I have to be a piece of shit, And I was becoming a piece of shit, basically. And
in your mind,
I had, in my mind. And when you become it in your mind, you become it in real life. It's just to create evidence of the fact that you're not worthy. And so once I started working with life coaches who reminded me of who I was, then I stepped back up into the light. Even the emails I sent out were broken. It was from a place of victimhood. I became that person that I did not want to attract. So I started attracting women who would call me at night, 10 o'clock at night, at the time before I went to bed at 7. And they would say, oh my God, MiMi, are you okay? I read your about page. I read your story. Oh my God, that's my story too. I can't wait to work with you. And I was like, I don't want to work with her. Like, oh my God. As my coach said, you've turned vulnerability into victimhood. And now your potential clients are seeing you as a victim and they want to comfort you and help you. And she said, what I invite you to do is to look at life, your messaging, your marketing, and your business from the scars, not from the wound.
From a healed perspective.
And so I started to heal. And then, so now when you hear me talk from the scar, you don't remember
you've healed it.
That there was a wound. So I had to build this. I had to show up here. I didn't start out doing this. When life happens, I allowed life to be me. I forgot to tell life about my God. I forgot to tell the stories about my God. I forgot to tell the mountain to move. I'll hide under the covers crying. And the only reason why I woke up was because I wanted to be there for my daughter. That was it. And then through the pandemic, it was like the best thing that happened to me, even though I lost so many family members. It was one of those things where I was able to heal. I was able to see the truth about who God says I am and get into a deeper, more beautiful, intimate relationship with God, a spiritual relationship, not a religious relationship, a spiritual one that allowed me to be stronger in my religion and my faith. And then I started to be able to support women because I had walked through it and embodied it. But before embodying it, I couldn't do it because I didn't know how. It's
You
like
didn't know
saying
how.
it's like saying water is wet. Well, yeah, I could read about water being wet.
Oh, we have a little internet glitch here. We have a